Rolo's never said it, but I think the reason why he invited me on Rule Zero is because he really does believe that the red pill is for everybody. It's not just for rich guys in New York. It's for guys out in the country. I'm out here in ranch country, man. I'm out here pulling these cowgirls out here, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Good gals. Country girls, man, they hit different. They're good women, for the most part.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Come On Man. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications, drop a comment. Any comment will do. If you guys are watching the premiere on Monday mornings, sound off in the live chat. I'm usually in there in the mornings while I'm editing videos. But if you don't want to do that, just drop a comment below the video. That helps out more than you know. It can be your favorite emoji. I don't care. You can talk about what you thought of WrestleMania this last weekend. No spoilers. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I had to take my son to Salt Lake City to go to an amusement park. So no spoilers this week, guys. All right. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good platforms. I just passed 3,000 followers on my new TikTok account. So check that out. That's at Best Men's Pod on TikTok. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/ComeOnManPod. You can join for as little as $10. You get all of these episodes, Monday's episodes, ad-free, just the interview portion, without all of this intro and outro stuff. You can do that. And then if you want some help with like dating apps or, you know, talking to chicks or whatever, join tier 2 or tier 3. I also have guys that have joined the tier where they're just trying to be more social. They're trying to build a friend circle up. They want to be able to just talk to people normally in public. So, you know, I help people with that too. There's all sorts of things I can help you out with. I'm a certified master life coach after all. So check that out. Patreon.com/ComeOnManPod. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. And for your troubles, I will send you some free stickers. This is really just so that I can get a hold of you in case something ever happens on one of these platforms. You know, I don't own any of these platforms. I don't own YouTube. I can't control what Facebook does. I can't control what Instagram does. So if I ever get banned from one of these platforms, I would like to be able to contact you and say, hey, I got banned. Follow my new account or follow me on this platform or whatever. So just do that. I will send you some stickers for your troubles. And if you like these designs too, you can get them on coffee mugs and t-shirts and hoodies and all that stuff at merch.comeonmanpod.com. And then check out my Practical Law of Attraction course, LOA.comeonmanpod.com. It's chick crack free. It's got tons of great reviews. All right. If you've ever watched the movie The Secret, a lot of people are turned off by it. They think it's magical thinking. You know, they make it out to be like genies granting wishes. And that's not how any of this works. All right. A lot of this comes down to your mindset and goal setting and programming your mind to hyper focus on the goals, hyper focus on the things that you want in this world. And it could be anything. It could be women. It could be your finances, your career, your health, anything that you want. I have you in this course sit down with a piece of paper and actually write out what you want your life to look like. What do you want? And I invite you to set goals so big that when you achieve them, it'll actually blow your mind. It'll actually blow your mind. So check that out, LOA.comeonmanpod.com. Once you get your mind right, everything else sort of falls into place. I'm getting a lot of good feedback on this course, so check it out. All right, joining me this week is a really cool guy, cool individual. I first saw him on Red Evening with Jack Napier and Rob Says. He goes by Nuclear Caudillo, and the reason why he's called Nuclear Caudillo is because he was a former nuke in the U.S. Navy. And we get into that. We talk about how he was an electronics technician, a nuclear electronics technician. We talk about that. We also talk about how he spent about 2 years aggressively dating in the Dallas, Texas area, and how that really taught him quite a lot about sexual dynamics and, female psychology and stuff like that. So excellent conversation. You guys are not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. I will bring you that conversation right after these words. Do you struggle to find the kind of women you want? Are you tired of swiping away all day on dating apps and only finding mediocre women? When you're out and about at the supermarket or at the mall, all you see are woke liberal women? You can't seem to find a traditional submissive woman that checks all your boxes. What if I were to tell you that the reason why you can't find your traditional submissive woman is because of your mindset, because of your paradigm? We get what we focus on in life. And you have programmed your mind to think that there's only trash women around you. You've programmed your mind by focusing on what you don't want in a relationship. To solve this problem, I've created my Practical Law of Attraction course. In my course, I will teach you how to reprogram your subconscious mind so that you will be hyper aware of the kind of women that will check all of your boxes. It's not that they weren't there before, it's just that you weren't aware of them because of your current mindset. So let's change that mindset today. Check out my course by visiting loa.comeonmanpod.com. That's loa.comeonmanpod.com. The law of attraction is nothing without action. So act now. All right, joining me this week is a pretty cool guy who I was first really made aware of on Jack Napier and Rob Says' show, Red Evening. He wrote a very comprehensive tweet about dating aggressively in Dallas, Texas for 2 years and what that experience taught him. He goes by Nuclear Caudillo. Is that how you pronounce it?
Perfect.
Okay.
More emphasis on the "iyo" on the last part.
Cowdeo.
Yeah. Perfect. There you go. Perfect.
I screwed it up so bad on the live stream the other because like I'm a little, maybe I think I might be a little dyslexic. I've never been tested for it, but every once in a while, like I'll just look at words and I'll just pronounce them a certain way and they're totally wrong. And I'm like, and then when I look closer, I go, oh, I see how I messed that up.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not an easy word to pronounce, but
what's going on, shipmate?
What's up, shipmate?
Dude, have you talked to Ryan Stone at all?
Just on Twitter. We go back and forth on Twitter, and I'm like, I feel like we both are trying to attack the same people with the same dumb ideas on Twitter, and we're like, and then I see his streams, and it's like you can tell he's kind of tired. Like this new era of Manosphere and Red Pill is just it's also tiresome. We're also tired.
He's burnt out. He's totally burnt out. But no, it's funny because when I first got introduced to him, I didn't realize, but he's Canadian Navy. He's former Canadian Navy.
Yeah, I read his story. I read his book, Fuck Files, and then a lot of the stories I was just like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, yeah, I've seen that happen. I've seen that play out. Yeah.
So I love talking to veterans on the show just because it's like I like getting into the old man sea story shit, you know.
Oh yeah, and I have plenty of those, and those are the ones that red pilled me the most. Were the sea stories, you know. Obviously, there were some awesome ones where it was just a great experience, you know. Nothing like hitting a port with your best friends and getting drunk and feeling righteously drunk, because you know, like if you're stateside and you're getting drunk, you're like, I got work tomorrow. But if you're 40 days at sea and you're with your best friends, you're like, I'm getting drunk. Like this is gonna happen. Yeah. We're gonna get sloshed. We're gonna talk to every single girl. We're gonna spend a whole bunch of money. I'm gonna call my mom drunk and tell her I love her. All the things, you know. But it's great. It's a great time. I'm glad I had that experience.
Yeah, man. I look back on my early days, and I say early days. I only did 4 years and I got out, but I got married my second year in like a dumbass. And
not the second year marriage.
Yeah, I was that guy. But like before that, you know, before I met her, you know, I was that classic young sailor that was just out chasing tail every port I went to. And one thing that I look back on as an old man is like, I wish I did more of the touristy shit, you know, and I did less of the bar hopping, and because that's what like,
they told me. So I had to balance, but I did 70% touristy shit and 30% get sloshed, you know.
Dude, that's a good way of doing it. You know, you can always get sloshed in the evening and go do touristy stuff in the day. And I did some of it. Like I went, I did the self-guided tour of like the Sydney Opera House and stuff like that. But I wish I would have done way more than just dumb stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Coulda, shoulda, woulda, but we're here
Right.
now.
Yeah. I can make up for it now, my old age. So,
Mm-hmm.
so you were a nuclear electronics technician in the Navy, a nuke.
Correct.
A nuke.
Yeah, one of those weirdos. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the difference between a nuclear electronics technician and your run-of-the-mill electronics technician?
Mental health. Yeah, that's
Is that it? That's the big deal.
Well, being a nuke, I don't know how much you've heard about us. Basically,
I have a friend that was a nuclear machinist mate.
Yeah, so I don't know if he told you the stories of how life was, but like our A school is 6 months, and then our C school, which is like our power school, we call it power school. C school is 6 months, and we get about 2 week break between both. And then we get about another 2 week break, and then we go into prototype school where we go on a submarine and we play with the reactor, get yelled at a lot. And then after a year and a half, 2 years, we go to the fleet. We go to the carrier or a submarine if you subball, you signed to be on a submarine. I didn't want to do the hot racking crap, so I was like, nope, I'm going straight to the fleet. So once you get to the carrier, you're basically you leave each school feeling good about yourself because you're better than ever. You've gone through this shitty academic, and then you get to the carrier and you're just a nub, and you're a nub for like a year and a half, 2 years, even 3 if you're suck at qualifying, right? So you get treated pretty badly. But the hard part for me was qualifying is very difficult because it's a little bit political, and also it's like a lot of knowledge, and you have like nukes have to be perfect. They can't fuck up. And they also, it's like our standard academically is very high, but our Navy standards are low. Like nukes don't really care too much about haircuts. I mean, we do, but like, and like having a SAT uniform is kind of a little bit second and third place. It's more like the knowledge and operating responsibly. So you're like a nub for a year and a half, and a lot of guys can't handle that level of hate. I'm not gonna use the H word of being a nub for that long. So a lot of dropouts, like a lot of people suffer from mental health, check into mental hospitals, and that's where my compassion for like younger guys came in, because I was a little older when I joined. When I saw the struggle, like a lot, and here's the thing: everyone loves to talk about young guys and incel this and whatever this, and I know you guys in the red pill space, we know what's going on, we know what the real deal is, but like most people don't. And then I got to see, when you mentor younger men, like lead them and mentor them, like especially in a military setting, you get to see some crazy stuff about the next generation, or people that are close to your age, and there's a lot of suffering. And like, it's really easy to go on a podcast or in a show and be like, men need to man up, but then you've never led a group of young men to do anything. You've never had to like yell at them and discipline them. You've never had to like commend them. You never had to like, hey man, you're an alcoholic, you got to stop drinking. All this stuff that people who claim to know young men, they're not in the arena, right? They're not dealing with this problem on a day-to-day basis, which that was one of my biggest benefits of being in the military, because I had this connection to younger guys that they look up to you, but it's not like a guru student. It's more like a big older brother kind of thing. And then so I had the opportunity to mentor a lot of young guys, both in the Navy and outside, on Liberty. And then once you qualify, you're pretty much untouchable. You can do whatever you want as long as you operate the reactor safely. And then they come to you for knowledge, sign their qualifications and all that stuff. And then you become friends, and you take them out on the bars. They see you that you're good with the ladies. You're like, oh, how do we talk? Like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And it's like, that was one of life's best experience that I got, because I got a glimpse into, the next generation and how they handle things. And it's not very like cool. It's not a very nice thing to beat these young guys when you've never you've never led them to do anything. They don't look up to you. They don't care about you. Like, yeah, it's a sad thing. It grinds my gears, honestly. But yeah, that's what being a nuke is. And then you mess up and you get, tap of the hand a lot, and then you get out because you can't do it anymore. And then here we are. So
You ever have to counsel somebody for just having really bad hygiene?
yeah, I had to counsel a guy who wouldn't make his bed in the morning.
Dude, I had to counsel a guy one time that just he wasn't showering. He
Ugh.
he
Yeah, always
he
one of
just
those guys.
he only brought like one set of coveralls to wear, and on we were on like a
No, not one of those guys.
yeah, just disgusting, just nasty halitosis, just wouldn't brush his teeth or whatever.
Yeah.
And finally, just people were complaining enough about him, and my chief was like, "Hey, you're his watch soup. We want you to do something about this."
Yeah,
It was just like,
the Chiefs tend to like
yeah,
you like him, you talk to him, you deal with this. So
yeah. It's, delegation. Shit rolls downhill. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, I had to sit there and tell a grown man, like, "Hey, dude, you need to shower every day. You need to brush your teeth at least twice a day, dude. You need
And
to."
that's a weird thing to tell a full
Dude,
grown man. That's
tell a
so weird.
grown ass man to have proper hygiene. It's awkward conversations, not fun at
Yeah.
all.
I just yeah, it's just a weird thing. And they usually take it pretty well for the most part. They're like, "Oh, okay." Like they
Yeah.
look kind of like not like destroyed, but they look kind of like it was like almost a cry for help. Like they just wanted to get acknowledged or something. I don't know. It's just a
Yeah.
weird thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, can you imagine if someone had to tell that to you, like how embarrassed you'd be? Like I would be really embarrassed. I'd be like,
I'd rethink
fuck,
my
like,
life.
we're having this. I'm that guy. I'm the guy,
Yeah.
Awful. So what made you said you joined the Navy a little bit older. What made you want to join?
I was in college and I just didn't want to. I was bored and I just wasn't motivated anymore. And I dropped out. I just didn't want to. I didn't like my major. I was in for civil engineering, and I just felt I didn't have like. I needed someone yelling at me to get things done, or at least I thought. And then I went through the nuke pipeline, and then I realized, I'm pretty self motivated. I just needed like structure, man. And then once I had that structure, I pretty much excelled at everything. Like I started going to the gym pretty regularly, and I started like I became super clean, organized. Started reading more, and yeah, and even with women, I became more like less emotional, more like to the point. Like the military kind of like all I needed was structure, and I feel like a lot of guys that's what they need now, structure. But the military right now, I don't even want to imagine what it is right now.
Dude,
Man.
like have you seen that video of where someone cut a recruiting video from, I think it was like the Chinese Marines, and then like one of our like most recent ones where they're like, my mom is I have two moms and stuff, and it's all about being lesbians and how diverse we are, and theirs is
man.
about like just fucking killers, just absolutely like rucking it and just like fucking shit up, and you're like, which military do you think is the most intimidating right now? Not ours, where we're waving fucking rainbow flags and stuff.
Oh yeah, I got so red pilled in the Navy. One of my most red pilling moments in terms of like society politics is when Trump was president, right?
Yeah.
And this is like when they wanted so the trans thing came up for trans to join the military, and military already has enough sexual harassment and weird stuff going on in the birthings, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go up on the flight deck, and we were in shipyard. I had to go up on the flight deck for this meeting about how they were going to implement this, right? And who was the most infuriated? I was like, I was tired. I was just a junior sailor. I was like, I just want to go home. This is stupid.
Yeah.
But our assistant reactor officer, he was a commander, or lieutenant commander. He was reading off the the order, military stuff. Yeah. And then he's like, "Okay, I'm here for any questions." And he looked he was reading it like the side, like I can't
believe it. We have to do.
I got stuff. Right, yeah, I got stuff to do. I got to go back to do actual stuff. Yeah. And then the people that were the most infuriated were the female leadership. They were the most pissed because and here's a very interesting, and this applies today, right? Because now like there's this female chief, right? Who she was pretty cool, right? But like she was like, so what are we gonna do? We're just gonna let them shower with it? Like, she's a chief, you know, they're gonna, you know, she's a chief. So
Right.
she's gonna say crazy stuff like that, right? And then I was like, whoa, I thought it was gonna be like us young guys, you know, but we were just like, hey, we have to go back to work, or we're trying to go home. And we got wives, we got dogs, we got stuff we want to do, you know.
We gotta not be here on this fucking ship right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's been 13 hours. We want to go home.
Yeah.
So you fast forward to today, whenever everyone's fine with pushing this kind of stuff until it's at the detriment of women. So we have this war right now where it's like we want to push all this woke stuff, and then when it's only a conflict, like society-wise, when it like kind of like messes with women's supremacy right on the gynocracy, right? And that was a good example of that then. Luckily, Mad Dog Mattis shot it down like a month later, but I don't know what's going on right now. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man,
that's just, yeah.
When I joined, so I joined in '98. It was under Clinton. We had the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and
yeah.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad because it's like, you know, there was guys that you could tell were a little, you know, little light in the loafers maybe.
Didn't affect my.
It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't a big deal at all because it was just like whatever, man. You know, and but now it's like an identity. And so now you have like dudes walking around as women and shit. Like I think under those circumstances and those close of quarters, under like stress and stuff, like you'd be like, that's a fucking distraction. To me, that would be a fucking distraction, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's out of hand. It's definitely out of hand. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not in there anymore dealing with that stuff.
Me either.
So I'm just adding this stuff in here for people that are watching. Hey, drop a comment. Hit that like button, you know, the usual shit. So what got you into the red pill space?
Man, I was very, you know, obviously I was pretty bad with women back when I was a kid in college.
That's how we all get here.
Yeah, but the thing is, it super sucked for me, right? Because I was going to University of Puerto Rico, and I was arguably the most amount of beautiful women I have ever seen in one place at, you know, like college. And I just, you know, I couldn't get to that point where it's like talk, get close, sex. I could not put it together. I think also I grew up Jehovah's Witness, and Jehovah's Witnesses, they're like sex bad, intimacy bad. So I had a lot of trouble getting, you know, connecting. I like this girl. I have a crush on her, and I want to take her clothes off. And also I had a lot of trouble with this girl likes me because, you know, in college, as long as you don't smell bad and you're not terribly ugly, you're going to get one girl's attention. So, you know, I got a couple girls' attention over the years, but I could never envision them wanting me sexually. So I had a lot of like inner work I had to do. When I joined the military, about a year in, I think that's when Rollo's book came out, Rational Male.
2013.
Yeah, so I started with 48 Laws of Power. I feel like a lot of guys start with 48 Laws of Power. And then I started, you know, I was on the Rouge V forum, Return of Kings. I think I was more of a lurker. I think I have one post, but I was more of a lurker. And you know, it was like peak manosphere. It's like we were discussing, is my car beta, stuff like that, or the ROI of lifting when it's too much, like cool stuff that like no girls were around, and we would discuss. It was great, right? Nothing like it is today. Nothing like it is today. And then I read Rollo's book.
The old day red pill is always better than the current red pill.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about manosphere, not red pill so much, but like manosphere, just like manosphere.
Manosphere is fucking weird now, man.
Yeah, I think the red pill now is amazing. I think it's the best it's ever been. It's robust. We have a lot of we are able to call out bullshit, which I like calling out bullshit. And also we're able to bring in new voices. Like it's always good to see a fresh face. You know, it's like guys like you. I don't know how long you've been doing this.
I haven't been in the space very long at all. I didn't start really studying this stuff until like 2019, 2020.
Yeah. So it's like good to see fresh people with, you know, the same kind of like ferocity and attacking ideas and just putting it out there. Like I see your TikTok videos and I feel like I'm getting yelled at. I'm just like, as a young guy, that's what a young guy needs. A guy, you know, a veteran yelling at him like, hey, don't double text, motherfucker. You know, like a little shock to the system because, you know, fresh faces, people for every like one red pill guy, there's like 1,000 trad cons or purple pill or OnlyFans girls telling young men what to do. And I'm like, hey, I've been the man in the arena. I've counseled young men.
Yeah.
I've had to like walk with men that, you know, have tried to commit suicide. I know what it is to be a young man. I've seen it, and I've had to, you know, be there for them, and also be hard on them, because, you know, it's the military, right? So when I see all this shit and all this crap on the internet about like, if you're not a man, if you don't do this, I'm like, listen, man, you don't have like the even the training or the experience to talk to younger men. You have zero, none. And you're here on the internet just spouting this crap. I'm gonna call you out. Like, this is what it is. So yeah, and then joined the military. Got red pill by the military. Is red pill. Military gives you a lot of red pills. And then I think the final like thing that like I killed the inner beta, everything, was when I read The Manipulated Man. I think it's Manipulated Man. I read that, I think, right before my second deployment, and it was like a shock to the system, because Rollo is like very analytical and very like, you know, connect the dots, like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Manipulated Man was like really ripping you out of that female frame and putting yourself in your own frame. And it, you know, it took me like 6 months to like process that book, and then here we are, you know, like here we are. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. So let's talk about this Twitter thread, right? This is what so I didn't realize, I think you were like already following me. I probably was following you back, but I wasn't really like watching your content on Twitter. And then I saw you on Jack's show and was listening to that conversation. I love tuning into their show on Friday nights.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a blast.
I've been on their show. They're fun dudes. Yeah, and Rob, I learned so much from Rob, and Rob busts my balls all the fucking time.
Yeah, I love Rob. I'm going on with him on Sunday. We're going to do a show.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, he's a good dude. So they were talking about this Twitter thread. And so I went and looked up your Twitter thread, and at the time of this recording, it has over 162,000 views. And so it was about how you were dating aggressively for 2 years in Dallas. So what do you mean by dating aggressively? Like, are we talking about like clubbing women over the head and dragging them back to the cave, or like what do you mean dating aggressively?
Only emotionally.
Oh,
only with charisma. Only with charisma. I didn't have a life in the military, because being a nuke, you don't have much of a life. You're always on the ship, deployed, shipyard. We had 4-section, 3-section duty. I had zero life. I did try to date a little bit, but I never worked out, right? So when I got to Dallas after I got out the military, I did 1 year in Beaumont, Texas, which is like an oil town. It sucked. Didn't like it. Quit my job. It was during the pandemic, so you know it wasn't fun, right? So I moved to Dallas, and because I got a job here, my brother was nearby, and then I started I made a pact with myself. I'm like, hey, you got an apartment on the 17th floor in downtown Dallas. You have worked really hard up to this point. You have read and understood the red pill. You're completely unplugged. You lift weights. You're working on yourself. You're doing all these things. Let's fire test everything. Let's just go out there, firing all cylinders. I don't care about super self-improvement right now, because I was on a ship for 6 years. I want to have fun. I want to work. I got a really light job. And I also have plenty of time, and I use that time mostly to learn about women, because I just wanted to enjoy life. I had a block of 6 years, which I didn't enjoy life. So I went out there and I just set up my Hinge and my Tinder and my Bumble, because, you know, when you're new to a city, you know, and then I went out 3 times a week, sometimes mostly alone, and I would just talk to people. It wouldn't be like, let me go gang these girls. I would just, hey, let me talk to the bartender. Let me talk to the bouncer. Let me talk. Oh, a group of girls are, hey, what's up? I'm new here. What's going on? You know, like I opened my heart up. Unlike a lot of people where they just want to make the rules in their head about how to. I went out there and I wanted to experience it for myself. So
I would say for guys that want to meet women organically, like they suck at dating apps and they want a cold approach, like the best thing you can do is just learn to be social, go out, talk to everyone, like men, women, dogs, fucking everybody, because by the time you do run into that hot chick, it'll be second nature by then.
It's very important that you work on your social skills. And it's also important that you open your heart to like the human experience of talking to people, and then you're going to realize that, you know, the awkward things that you did, you don't like being done to you. And like, for example, like when you're talking to a girl on the street, people, like anyone, when you're getting solicited on the street or someone coming up to you have a conversation, you want to know two things, like who the hell are they and how long are they going to be here, right? So you learn, wait, I don't like that either. So let me apply that to other people, you know, and women and old ladies and people at the counter and everyone. And you realize like social interactions are starting to get better because I pulled my head out of my ass and I started kind of like looking at from outside in, you know, I kind of, oh, okay. So a lot of guys that are like angry because, you know, women this, women that. And I think what it is a lot of times is just that they have resigned themselves to just not thinking, they think that everyone else is some alien figure creature that they don't understand. I'm like, no, dude, think about it. Let's think. If you don't like to be solicited, then probably no one else does. So, and if you do solicit someone, they probably want a time limit, a soft time limit exposed, and they want you to at least introduce yourself, or, you know, some kind of like comfort where they know who you are, right? So I apply that. You apply that to women too, right? So if you see a cute girl walking your dog, or, you know, and she's talking to you, turn a little bit like you're about to walk away, but also talk to her like, you know, a quick conversation. And then introduce yourself, and then get her Instagram or her number or whatever, and then continue about your day. You know, and you know, a lot of girls, when they feel like you're leaving, some of them, they just yap, and they won't, and then you're in, bro, you're in. And you see how it's not more about like reading guides, you know, it's not about like watching 100 YouTube videos. It's simply just thinking and just getting outside of your head and thinking about people and how people operate. You know, we're all the same. Humans are all the same, basically.
Yeah, one of my first jobs getting out of the Navy was I did door-to-door office supply sales. That
you talked about that.
Yeah, that will get you really good at cold approach. The thing was, I was married then. I was married, so it wasn't like I was like, oh, I could apply this to bitches. You know, I was I'll tell you what, when I was doing door-to-door office supply sales, one, I was in really good shape because I was walking every day. I was walking like miles and miles every day, and I wasn't eating because I was like, I don't have time for this. I got to get a sale and stuff. So I was really like trimming down, very good shape. And I was super social. Like because when you start doing sales, like they really teach you to be bubbly and stuff, and like the life of the party type guy. And you find that you're doing that to everybody whenever you go out and you're, you know, cracking jokes and stuff. And like my wife at the time was just like, I love this job. Because before this, like you were just like this negative person, and like you're just like super social and you want to talk to everybody. And like I didn't realize how it applied to dating until after I got divorced and after I started learning this stuff. I was like, oh fuck, I had like some of the best training in the world. And going back to what you were saying about, you know, people don't want to be sold shit. So doing door-to-door office supply sales, one of the things that they told us was everyone loves to buy stuff, but no one wants to be sold anything, you know? So you have to have that false time constraint. Like, hey, real quick, don't want to take much of your time, but let me and you got to snowball them with the information. You know, and there's like a whole psychology behind it. It's the same with cold approach. And it's like you said, you have to put yourself into their shoes. Like how would you feel if some random guy comes up to try to sell you a fucking printer, you know?
You know, you just got to kind of think outside of yourself and what you want. Like think of the other person, how they would feel, and, you know, just go off of that, you know? Obviously, you can like maybe look up a video or a course by Troy Francis or any of these legit guys, you know.
Any of the Rule Zero guys, they're all good.
Yeah, all those guys are legit, and I use their content all the time I like fire tested all their content on the ground. You know, I'm like, you know, if Rolo and Ryan are R&D, then I'm the scout. You know, I'm out there. I'm out there in the wilderness trying to, you know, make sense of everything. But I know you guys had a podcast recently where it was like about you guys being too old or out of touch or something. And I can tell you right now, it's always every segment of every iteration of content, whether it's a book, video, podcast, whatever. I you know, during these couple years, it's up to date. It's current. It's right there.
Well, yeah, it's because that was more of like a sort of Rollo was hosting that one. It was like a reaction video because like Abba and Preach were giving like, they were giving Rollo shit. And who else was doing it? Like the Playing with Fire guy was giving Rollo shit. And he's like, and he had some guy on saying, look, I don't understand these old guys that are giving dating advice. It's like, not like old guys go out and date, it's like, yeah, we do. The fuck, like I got divorced when I was like 35, and then was I 35? How old? I don't know. Anyway, got divorced in my mid 30s, and then didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Ended up in a bad relationship for 4.5 years. Came back out, still didn't know what I was doing, but I was in better shape. I was like, I got to figure this out. Like, you can learn this stuff at an older age, and you'll have a better time because you probably make more money and you have more resources and stuff like that. And chicks just sort of like older guys. They really do.
Yeah.
So,
they're I don't even know where to begin. I'll just say that I thought I wasn't qualified.
Mm-hmm.
Until I wrote that thread. I thought I wasn't qualified to talk about this stuff because I thought everyone was like out there. I really thought like everyone was like, because it's not like it was easy, but it wasn't. It became easier once I kind of like, when Morpheus says you're beginning to believe.
Yeah.
Every guy who's out there has that moment where he's like, oh crap, like this is how it really is, and everyone else is pretending, especially online. So it's like, okay, well, maybe I am, but and then after I wrote that thread, and I'm just like, I didn't write it with the intention of being like, this is what it is. Listen to me, buy my course, and blah blah, right? I wrote it with intention. Yeah, I just want to say, hey guys, this is what I noticed.
Which I do. I have a Gumroad course. Everyone
get the love. Oh, you didn't leave it up. I was gonna.
Oh, sorry. Here. Yeah. Here we go.
Hold on.
There it is.
Okay, there you go. Follow the brain. Click on that. But yeah, it just, I never thought I was qualified till the other day, and then I realized like, oh, and everybody, even people that don't like the red pill space, like even Pat Stedman was like, yeah, this makes sense. And you have Abu American as well. He said, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Then Jack was like on every single one. He's like, yep. And then Rob, yep. And I never saw Jack's content, and I started watching, and I was like, oh, this guy is like Dutch version of me. Like, he gets it. And it's just like, just like women want men to get it, you want other men to understand what you're going through so you don't feel as alone. So I feel like now I feel like more vindicated. I'm just like, oh, okay, so I'm not a weirdo. I know, okay, I can talk about this stuff and I don't have to keep it to myself. I can help other guys, maybe talk to guys like you. So basically it.
Yeah, that's why I recommend guys get into like men's groups, whether it's a local group or an online forum of some kind. Like, it's funny too, because like Rollo started out in the Swab forums. Ryan really started out in the Reddit groups and stuff like that. I started out in a 3% man group on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
And that group got nuked, so we had to start a new group. The link for that is in the description for anybody that wants to join it. But man, that was a great group because it was really hopping in 2020 when I was.
That was only on Facebook?
It's only on Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
But it was hopping because in 2020, like we were all locked in, we had nothing to do, and so we're all like, some of us were still dating though. Like,
I was actively giving it my best shot.
Yeah.
But I was not in a city. I was in a 100,000 population town.
Okay. Yeah. I'm in a small town. So it was like on all the dating apps, getting chicks to meet up in a park, and hey, I'll smuggle some wine in a backpack. Let's go hang out at the park. It was great, man. Dating was awesome. And then there was guys in the group. It was a pretty big group at that time. It was like, there was like 1,500 guys in there. Wow. And there was guys that were like, kind of really left wing, really afraid of like the whole virus situation. And they were like, how can you possibly go out when there's the plague out there? It's like, it's not that bad, dude.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting time. But yeah, it was like a good time of swapping notes, and that's really what
it's all about. That's it. Exactly. It's just
dudes swapping notes, man.
Not rich dudes, not poor dudes, not whatever. Just dudes like fishermen, engineers. Who cares?
Rollo's never said it, But I think the reason why he invited me on Rule Zero is because he really does believe that the red pill is for everybody. It's not just for rich guys in New York. It's for, guys out in the country. I'm out here in ranch country, man. I'm out here pulling bitches, pulling these cowgirls out here, like I love it.
Good gals, country girls, man. They hit different. They're good women for the most part.
Yeah.
If you have frame. If not,
frame. Oh, speaking of frame, that sort of brings up the next thing on the list here. So you said that all women are feminists at first, but frame fixes this. Now I get it, but for the audience, how does frame fix feminism in these women?
Okay, so don't go like if you meet a woman and she comes up with are you vaccinated or who did you vote for or whatever, stuff like that. You have a frame, right? And as a guy, and I would hope that as a red pill guy, how BS politics is and how what's going on and how we're all going to pay for all these people's bad decisions through our taxes, all this stuff, right? I think people don't understand frame because when a girl presents, maybe not on the first date, maybe like you start dating this girl, hooking up, whatever, and then you see that, her politics, the books she has at her place, all that, especially these girls that get master's degrees, they have all these liberal books all over the place, like the Michelle Obama book or whatever they have, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to feel like you're going to go on like a forum. You're going to be like, oh, my girl's this. What do I do? What do I say? And I would say, dude, what are you? What is your beliefs? What do you think? Mm-hmm. Right? And that's not to say go to a girl and be like, I don't believe in abortion. Be charismatic. Insert game in the way you deliver to women because women are not us. So like for example, the abortion thing, right? On a first date, first 1 through 3 dates, even if you're hooking up, avoid, change subject, agree, and whatever, right? And then as she gets more gets that deep conversion where she likes you, she's not going anywhere, it doesn't look like, and she asks you, maybe she brings it up again, and you say, hey, I would say something along the lines of, hey, I don't care what other women do with their bodies, but if you ever got an abortion, if you ever aborted my baby, I'll leave you because why would I want to be with someone who doesn't want my baby? Mm-hmm. Right? And she's not gonna know what to think. She's like, oh, what? But he doesn't, And you know what that is? That means you're stepping back from the whole storm of opinions and just saying, when it comes to my doorstep, this is what it is. Simple as that. Same thing with guns. Let's say she opens your drawer and she finds a weapon, or she finds out that you have a weapon or something, and she's like, I can't believe you have this, and you just say, hey, I have to protect you, Mm-hmm. Stuff like that, where she's gonna have to understand who you are, and that it also benefits her for you to think like this. But obviously, it's your idea, it's your world. She's just in it, right? You don't have to qualify to her politics. You don't have to excuse them, or you don't have to qualify them. You just, and who cares about who cares about a girl's politics? Like Sam Hyde, like you don't need your girl to align with you 100%, dude. Like, yeah,
a good example of this, I think I handled it pretty good. Was I had Jamie Date on. I don't know if you're familiar with Jamie Date. She's a female dating coach. And she's actually a pretty cool one. She's like one of the better fish out there, I would say.
Okay.
But the reason why I like her is because she did door-to-door office supply sales for the same company I did. So I was like, oh, okay, I got mad respect now. But
we're friends now.
we're cool now. We're cool now. Yeah. But I had her on my show, and we're sitting there talking. Everything's going great. Everything's cool. And then out of fucking nowhere, she brings up like climate change. Right. She's like, we got to get on the same page because our planet, blah, blah, blah. And I just was like, cool, and then, like, I just acted indifferent. Don't give a fuck. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about it and try to change your mind. Like, all right.
It's almost a shit. It's almost a shit test. It's a shit test. It's a shit test.
Just, all right, cool. All right. And then change the stuff. I just fucking changed the stuff.
Do not agree. If she accuses you of not believing what she believes, do not agree and amplify. Like if she says, I don't like that you have a gun, but I can overlook it or something. Don't be like, well, I'm buying 100 more. Don't do that either. Like, come on. Like let's be smart here. I mean, you could, but like the ROI, like just
Yeah.
be, discreet with your beliefs at first, and then one day maybe she might find a Trump book, like happened to me. I had my Art of the Deal Trump book on my bookcase, and she's
That's
like,
on my
"Oh,
list. Is that good? Is that a good book?
I just read the intro, but I have so much books to read that I'll get to it eventually. But like,
Yeah.
she was like, "You fuck with Trump?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, it was a gift from my dad. My dad's into him." Boom. Who cares? Who cares? I believe what I believe, and I like who I like the authors I like. And if she doesn't like that, I'm not gonna change what I read so she can tell her friends I'm so liberal and
What the way I look at that, all that kind of stuff too, is like a chick needs to get on board with whatever the fuck you got going on. Or otherwise, like it's just not going to work out anyway,
Yeah.
You
either shit or get off the pot.
But don't want to change yourself for a woman, because a woman will never respect you if you change for her. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. We're doing pretty good here. I don't want to go through like your whole. I wrote down like a lot of your tweets here, but we don't have to go through all of them. And I'm going to post a link. So in the description, there's a link to this tweet thread. You guys should actually check it out. It's pretty cool. Let's see here. You said that American women drink aggressively. Have you ever been to Australia? Now, I remember them telling us on the
I have not.
You've not? Oh, dude, get ready to live, man. You should go there sometimes. But so when I
want to go, it's just after the pandemic, the pandemic. I saw like how they handle the pandemic, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I ever want to go there now.
Well, a lot of the pandemic stuff's like over with now. Like you can actually travel again. It's all, everyone realizes it was all a big fucking joke. I'm probably going to get demonetized now.
Well, it's been nice knowing you.
Yeah, we're 40 minutes in. So, if you guys tune in on the live streams on Wednesday and Fridays, like send super chats, because I do get demonetized frequently.
Yeah,
but so yes. Anyway, back to Australia. So when I was in the Navy, I went to Australia a couple of times, and every time we went there, we had a Liberty brief where they talked about how Australians have a higher alcohol tolerance than us because it's in their culture. They drink more than us. Don't challenge Australians to a drinking contest. And obviously, as young enlisted sailors, we all took that as a challenge. We're like, oh, is that so?
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily recall if the women were as hardcore as the dudes. So I was curious about that. I was like, oh, women are like, pretty much every date I've ever been on, like asking chicks out for drinks was never a problem. And chicks were like happy to throw some back. It was only like a handful that were like, I don't really drink,
Yeah.
But
they don't say no to shots. They never say no to shots. They never say no. As long as the drink looks like colorful and has a flower in it, they're like, oh, cool. It's like the new brownies, or it's like a snack or like a cake. They love that shit. And it's just like, now I think Forward Playboy just talked about this. You have to monitor, and I think this is another point, is like you have to monitor when you're on a date with a woman. You have to monitor her now, or not. You have to watch her. That's another dimension of dating, is like you have to watch these girls drink, because a lot of guys are like, well, if she's drinking, she's gonna be more fun. I'm like, up to a point, and then eventually.
Then it could be a date grape situation. Sorry, YouTube. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in all sorts of trouble.
At worst, or at best, it could get into she's acting out of pocket, making you look bad in public. And also, I don't want to have sex with a super drunk chick. It just, unless I'm drunk or she's my girlfriend or something, where it's just my girl, but some random girl I just met, I do not like.
It's just a bad idea. Yeah.
No.
Well, yes, that you're just, if she regrets it in the morning, you are fucked. You are leaving yourself open for problems with
also
that. So,
just like the breath, the smell, and then she's acting sloppy, which it's a turn off for me. It's a turn off when a girl's like acting sloppy, and also it makes me feel like I'm taking advantage of her. And I was like, oh, this is all like, so there are times where if when she was super drunk, I'd be like, just sleep on my bed, I'll sleep on the couch, and and then I'll turn her head to the side, so, and then in the morning I give her Advil, because I'm a nice guy, and then I send her on her way. It's just because it's just not worth it. You're not gonna feel good. You're gonna feel like an opportunist. It's not good for you.
There's I think it was one of my first podcast episodes. It's called like A Tale of Two Train Wrecks. And one of them, I call her like blackout drunk girl or whatever. And the first date we went on, I took her to like this local dive bar, and she just got fucking plastered, right? Absolutely plastered.
Dive bar plaster, which is a different type of plaster.
Yeah, man. And she was like, we went walking around the neighborhood and stuff, and she was like stumbling around, slurring her speech. And I was like, oh shit, that's a bad sign. Like that's, a girl that just like lets herself go completely like that on a first date is kind of a red flag.
No.
And so the second date, I invited her back to my place, and I was like, we're going to close the deal here. And I had wine here and stuff like that. And she just got completely like sloppy drunk with the wine. And I was like, I can't send her home. She's gonna wrap her car around a telephone pole or something. So, but I also was like, I'm not sticking my dick in this. So yeah,
yeah, you don't have to do that stuff. It's just, you don't have to.
So I had her sleep on the couch, and
yeah.
I was like,
I'm just a really nice guy, so I just, and also like, I feel kind of responsible because I was the one buying the drinks. So it's like, you know what? It was just, girls when they're on a date and they like start getting comfortable and relaxed, they're not gonna think, oh, I gotta be, they're gonna start getting a little more loose and drink, and then ultimately, it's up to you to get her home safe. So I just, whatever.
Yeah. So and then the next morning, I was just like, I'm sort of done with this, and drank some coffee. And she's like, so I drank a little too much last night. I'm like, yep.
Yes, and that's when they drink a lot, because they acknowledge it, and you're just like, yeah, yes, you did.
You sure did, honey. Sure did. And then I just blocked her on everything and never called her back after that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You also said the career girl lifestyle is depressing. What do you think is depressing about them career girls?
So here's so we don't want to get into like the revenge fantasy of all women are going to be alone and have nobody, right? Even though it's probably going to be that.
I don't believe that. There's always going to be some simp out there for somebody.
Yeah. And maybe they're still miserable even with the guy. Maybe they're not. I don't care. But I've dated women who are just starting their careers, younger women. I've dated women right in the middle of their careers. I've dated women that are just absolutely tired of their career. They just want to start a family, right? Like I've dated all things, right? And it's clockwork. Like recently dating a 24-year-old girl or 25-year-old girl, and she said she's in her party phase. Didn't want to settle down. Just want to have fun. Booked a trip to Central America by herself. Yeah, that's career girl stuff. Girls that don't want to settle down.
Eat, pray, love, baby.
Yeah, eat, pray, love crap, right? And then I dated girls 29, 30, and it's like you start dating them, and then they're super lazy in relationships. They focus so much on their career that they forget that, hey, to have a guy around, you need to do at least something besides show up. Like sex isn't enough to keep a quality guy around. You have to do other things. So there's like this frustration there, and then they sit down with you and they're like, I deserve more. You're not giving me what I need. I want this. I want a relationship. I want commitment. I'm just like, commitment? I don't know if you understand this, but like you can't work all day and then me invite you over to my apartment, me like do all these things for you, and then you want like me to throw away all the other girls in my rotation and change my life and be in love with you. Like that's not how this works. But they're never gonna consciously think of it like that. And then you have the girls that are like 34, 35, my age and up, which some are cool, some are just cool, good women, cool, just fun to be around. But some women are just like they're like this resentment that you're out there enjoying your life in your peak, and they're not. Like there was a girl who my first date, I remember my first date in Dallas. She was 31, 32, right? Super hot. She was like half gypsy, half Mexican, green eyes but brown skin, hot gal, runner. And we went on a date, and then after the date, I had to go travel, so obviously she lost it. But she was always in my DMs, and then eventually She was like, you're just out there, doing all these things. You're just out there enjoying life. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, guys like you are always in the streets. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then that happened for a year. And eventually I convinced her to come over and we hooked up. And then it just got worse because like now she hooked up with me and now she was in my DM just trash talking me. And even she got a boyfriend, a simp. She got a simp boyfriend. It's pretty obvious. And still trash talk me on my DM.
Yeah.
So I didn't block her, delete her because this is entertaining. I was like, please go on, and I'm not gonna hit you up anymore because you have a boyfriend, and I'm not that type of guy, right? But it's like you're my lesson about like what's the next step for a lot of women, and I don't want that for you guys. But the thing is, like, I don't want this for women. I want like a lot of guys are happy. They're gonna die alone, cats and stuff. Great, right? But it could be your sister. It could be what if it was like the love of your life, which it never worked out, and you always thought this girl was amazing in your head, and then you look her up and she's 34, 35, single, depressed. Like it's obvious. You can see it in the that's not gonna make you feel good. You're gonna be like, man, what the heck? And
yeah,
this fantasy, we need to get out of that mentality and be more like accept that actions have consequences. And man, it's not pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. And there's always gonna be a guy to pick them up, but
it's not gonna be the guy they want.
Yeah, and it's good. There's gonna be a lot of reconciliation, with the fact that they can't handle this reconciliation of accepting that they no longer have the market value to secure a hotter guy. So they become like what incels are when younger. They literally become a femcel. That's what a femcel is. It can't get commitment when she wants it.
Yeah.
And they just in your DMs angry or calling you in the middle of the night because they're drunk and they're lonely. And like, I'm sorry, I have work, and plus you're not hot enough, or you just for me to like drive to your house. You're not a hot 22-year-old who just got out of class. I would go drive if that was. I'd be like, oh well, life. I gotta do it.
Yeah.
If you're 35 and you're still hot, but you're like,
I have a
sorry,
I have a gal that she doesn't listen to the fucking podcast, but she I don't think she does anyway, but she's a running pal, and like so I go running with her. We did marathons and stuff, and I think she's kind of like that, She was married and she like basically uprooted everything and moved over here where I'm at in the middle of nowhere. And her husband didn't speak up about it, didn't say, no, we're not doing that. He was just like, oh yeah, we can do that, because he just thought she wasn't really going to do it. And she ended up buying fucking property sight unseen, moved out here, and then was trying to get him to move out. And he was like just dragging his feet because he didn't really want to move out, and they ended up getting divorced. So now she's, late 30s. I think she's late 30s. Yeah. Late 30s. And she's divorced now, and there's no prospects for her to go dating out here. She's a half black chick. I think I don't know what other nationalities, but she's definitely half black. And there's like, she wants to date a black dude, and there's like no black guys out where I'm at. There's very few of them out here. And so she's just like, she's sort of miserable out here. And
that's sad. I don't want that for anybody.
Yeah. And so then like we go running, and she sees that like I'm in a healthy relationship with my girl. My girl is 9 years younger than me and treats me like a king, does like all this stuff for me. And she just like resents it. She's like, she gives me shit, calls me, like, I just, shrug everything off. Like it's just a shit test. I'm just like, whatever, I'm getting laid. I don't know what you're doing, but
and they're not bad people. They just, their romantic decisions are completely stupid. They just don't know what they're doing. They probably don't have the awareness. And I don't want that for them, but I can't help you.
Yeah.
I found good girls in their mid-20s who were good women. They were in my frame, cooking, helping me out, cleaning, watching my dog. Best sex ever, awesome. And then I'm like, okay, when are they gonna ask me to be their girl? But they just wanted to play the field. And then you just see in every stage, like, women just don't have that, like, hey, I'm giving everything to this guy. Maybe I should just give him commitment, because maybe being in a club at 1 a.m. when I'm 25, shaking my ass and drunk is not as good as, you know, taking a Christmas picture with a guy that I already gave him everything else. All I have to do is not be a hoe, That's all I have to do. But
right, so easy.
yeah,
And when I was out dating too, I was pretty much dating chicks that were like, 30s. I was dating chicks in their like the early 30s, all the way up to the 40. Man, the chicks that were like my age though, they were the worst. They were absolutely the worst. But the chicks, there was a lot of chicks in their early 30s where they hadn't had kids yet, and they had like the baby rabies and stuff, because they were like, oh fuck, time is running out. And so like, that was always a situation going out on dates, and it was just fascinating. It was just like, the whole situation, the timeline that Rollo puts out in his second book is just like spot the fuck on. So
yeah, but you guys are too out of touch, right? I don't.
Right? Yeah, we don't fucking know. But
it's really spot on.
You know what's good about that though is, a lot of guys use that timeline to shit on women with, right? They're like, oh, you fucked up. Like you got to your 30s and you didn't, land a man. You're going to be miserable for the rest of your life. Well, a lot of guys could also use that timeline to plan things out. Like, okay, you want a chick that's ready to settle down. This area right here, these chicks are fucking ready. And if you have like your game on point and stuff like that, you could be that high value fucking alpha guide that she's always wanted, that she could settle down with,
Yeah, and like a lot of women too. Like I had an ex, great gal. I still think about her here and there. I met her when she was 27, and as a guy, I'm never gonna ask a girl her body count or her history with men, right? But I do ask certain.
That's a dumb fucking thing. Yeah,
that's a no, right? But like getting to know her and her behavior and inferring, like I kind of like get a picture of how her life was before. You know what it was? She had 2 boyfriends, and maybe she had a little quick 2-month hoe phase where she hooked up with 3 or 4 guys. She traveled once for work. She was in the Peace Corps, but I still got that deep conversion. She was still obsessed with me. Yeah. So, you don't have to like assume that every girl at a certain point is a turbo slut. I think it's more about behaviors. Yeah. And at the other end of that, don't assume that a good girl is angelic. They all have skeletons. They all do these crazy things, right? Yeah. You got to protect yourself and practice a little bit of like, be a little nuanced in this. And at the end of the day, a lot of guys wouldn't mind a girl who had a body count of 15 or 10 or 20 if she's 27 and she's wearing lingerie for you, cooking you a meal, and maybe even asking you if you want to bring in a third in the bedroom. Like, you think a guy in that moment is going to be like, no, I'm sorry, you have 15 bodies.
What's your body count? Yeah.
Sorry, I can't enjoy your unending love because I can't enjoy your worship and love because you have 15 bodies. But obviously there's a limit. Like past a certain point, you can tell that like, if she's like completely batshit crazy from hooking up with so many men, then yeah, it's never gonna happen. But let's just chill.
I really don't think that's that's common. I don't think it's as common as guys make it out to be. And you get all these chicks that have been on like Fresh and Fit and stuff like that, or on Access Vegas. Like a lot of those chicks are professional fucking call girls. Of course they're gonna have hundreds and thousands of bodies, and of course they're gonna be completely broken. They do that for a living, but Sally over here in Hotchkiss, like she's not out on the town doing that kind of stuff every night. A lot of those chicks are serial monogamists. They'll be in a relationship with a guy for like 2 or 3 years and then get with the next guy for another 2 or 3 years. It's like their body counts aren't in the hundreds, and
their body count is not going to keep you up at night. Like girls innately know that we don't like high body counts, but at the same time, like it's life. Like you want her to be 18 and only fuck 5 guys in 9 years. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even seem realistic. Like, hey, on a biological level, we all want virgins, right? Great. Some of us, right? I know that's not realistic. I don't know why these women on Twitter are just like, oh man, you guys turned 35 and you guys entitled to virgins. I'm like, no, I live in planet Earth.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm
Well,
grounded.
there are guys in like the black pill, MGTOW communities that are just completely
Out of it.
unrealistic.
Yeah,
Like,
just
dude,
not
you
on
are
Earth.
never going to get laid if like that's what you're concerned about.
Mhm.
And it's such a dumbass thing too. Like the whole body count thing. It's like they're never going to be honest with you, so don't even ask. It's a dumb thing.
Yeah.
Just look out for other red flags. That'll tell you everything you need to know.
And here's a concept. It's entirely possible that you're the most alpha dude she's ever met, and all those other men are gonna be like, dorks compared to you.
Yeah. And
That's
I think
always, that's probably most likely why she's in the kitchen in lingerie, cooking for you while you're watching TV.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people they get so hung up on the concept of like the alpha widow too. It's like, Rollo, it talks about this, and so does Paul from Apex Mindset. He talks about this too. It's not so much a body count number issue as it is an alpha impression issue. And if she's like pining for some guy in her past, but you're better than that guy,
you're gonna replace that. Yeah,
you're gonna replace that guy. And that's just how it works. So a lot of guys worry about the dumbest things. All right, we're at an hour here, man. This has been a fun conversation, brother. Where can people find you online?
So you can find me on Twitter.
Oh, you know what? Let me bring this stuff up. Oh, you had your YouTube here, so
yeah. So,
but it's the same username, right?
Yeah, it's the same username as YouTube, and then on YouTube, I'm dropping a video about once a week. I'm gonna do a little bit more because I got a little more free time. I want to do a video on reconciliation between. So I saw these tweets, and it's like a tweet storm right now about like guys that are like, you have to have sex with 100 women, and then like just like it's like a parallel, and then another guy comes up and says, the best game guide is the Bible, and you have to have sex with as little women as possible, 0 or 1.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I guess I have to talk about this because I think Ryan Stone said like 100 women, right? Some of those women are going to be women that are amazing and that you're going to miss them all the time, right? That some of those women are going to be batshit crazy and try to hurt you. Some of those women are going to be women that you feel terrible for like breaking their heart or something like that, because that's just life. We're humans, that happens, right? When you get to 100 women, unless you're some kind of like NBA star or celebrity where women just knock on the door, have sex with you and leave, right? You're going to get a little bit, entangled with these women. You're going to have to go on dates with them. You're going to see them. You're going to, we're humans. And it's cool too. A lot of guys think they have to get to this number in order to be super cruel and they won't get destroyed by women. But when you have the experience and you go out there, you experience women and you get beat up, but also you have great wins, great losses, whatever, you're gonna be like, I don't have any need to prove myself to anybody. Mm-hmm. And this is harder than I thought, but it's also worth it because now I have this inner peace, knowing that like I don't have to qualify to some guy on Twitter that I don't know, who doesn't know me, who's obsessed with what I do with my dick. Like
Yeah.
That's
why I think like the guys that ask like body count for men, right? I had this guy in my DMs on Instagram. He said that Patrick Bet David said that you have to ask dating coaches what their body count is. Mm-hmm. And so this kid asked me that, and I was like, I go, I could tell you a number, but how would you verify it, bro?
Yeah. I could lie to you.
Yeah, I was like, we could be like, John Anthony Lifestyle saying he's slept with thousands of women. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. But how do any of us verify that? It's the dumbest thing ever. So yeah, again, it's the same thing. The whole body count thing, men or women, it's a fucking retarded conversation.
Yeah, the manosphere sucks right now. We're like spinning our tires in the mud for these concepts. So that's one of the reasons. Yeah, like that's one of the reasons I wrote this thread is because like we're doing Red Pill 101 shit like from 10 years ago that we talked about. Like you guys have to grow up. We have to go past this. There's other things to talk about.
Yeah, and there's guys who've been in the space for a long time too, like Ryan, like Rob, they've been in the space for a long time, so they've seen all this stuff.
Cycles,
and
the cycles.
Yeah, they see the cycles that they see. So Rob says it a lot. What's old is new again, but it's like there's always new guys coming into the space, like myself. And Red Pill's got such a bad rep right now because of like the misrepresentation from the black pillars and the doomers and stuff. That when you actually tell people like, hey, you know what, Red Pill isn't about hating women and holding women accountable. It's guys swapping notes to have a better understanding of women so that we can use that to our advantage. Whether you want to be a permanent plate spinner, you want to have a long-term relationship, or you want to, dare I say it, get married.
Yeah.
Like it's like it could be used for whatever you want, and it could be all this information is just information. It's just a tool. So yeah, it actually took me a while to learn that too, because the first times I started hearing some of this stuff, it was like a lot of it was in forums, and it was like these doomers that were misquoting Rollo. And so you just like get this impression of Rollo and Red Pill as like, it's about hating women.
Yeah.
And then when you actually sit down and talk to these guys that pioneered this shit, you're like, oh, that's not what it's about at all.
Yeah, they become a cleanup crew for shit ideas. Honestly, the Red Pill, that's what the real Red Pill right now is going out and like calling bad ideas so people understand what this is. It is not like, it's not a tribe. Like we're not, I mean, obviously we're friends and we're all, we're kind of, we're human, we make connections, we're friends, right? But like, there isn't like a Red Pill Legion of Doom under a swamp somewhere where they were just calculating the next idea to destroy young men. No, we're all isolated, in our own lives. Most of my friends aren't Red Pill. I mean, they understand what's going on and they see me and what I do, and they have questions. But in my last video, I said, hey, when the student is ready, you present them a very small morsel of the first lesson, and then you let them go from there, right? Mm-hmm. And the Red Pill has always been just, Bob the accountant in Louisiana, and Nuclear Caudillo, the engineer from Texas, and Paul the salesman, all like, hey, we have the same problem with women. What do you guys think? What have you guys done? And then we get on a forum with no names, no faces, no clout. Oh, you too, blah, blah, blah. And then, there's always going to be that one guy like, you guys are dorks. And we're like, we kick him out. And then we figure out, and then over the years that compiles into more formal paragraphs and stuff like that, and books. And then here we are. You could either choose to go the route of be a doomer. You can go the route of clout and try to like make this sort of like sensationalize the Red Pill, if you will, or you can be smart and apply it to your own life. And I'm telling you right now, that third option, it has so many, like, your life will transform. I'm telling you, if you're watching this video, please take some time, drop all your other hobbies if they're taking too long or too much time, and read this stuff at least for a month. Get in there, dig your nails into it, get really acquainted with what it really is if you're not sure, and then talk to guys like Paul and other guys in the space. Watch their things. They're going to clear up a lot of doubts for you. That way you can win. We don't, because all these figures like Trump isn't going to save the West. No one's going to save the West. You can only save yourself, and the best way to save yourself is by taking action. And you know what the coolest part is? These geezers that are, everyone's saying they're too out of touch, we're willing to share this knowledge, and not as like, I'm better than you, I'm your guru, listen to me, more as like a, hey man, I just got back from this date, check this out, this is what I learned, or I just saw this news, I'm noticing a trend, what do you guys think? And that's a gift. We should cherish this. But no, you know what, we have to hold women accountable, or
let's drink White Claws and throw them off the show.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for spending your evening with me. I'm gonna let you go here.
All right, man. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. And hey, anytime you want to have me on, man, we could talk.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, Hooyah Navy.
Hooyah.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Cowdeo, thank you so much for joining me, man. You're welcome back anytime. Great conversation. You have a lot of good insights, man. I really like following your Twitter account. I like following your screenshots from the dating apps. And what was it lately? You've been posting. What do you call it? Therapist game or therapy game, where you're basically asking women questions that a therapist would ask them, which actually gets them to open up more. Genius, man. It's absolutely genius, dude. I love it. Follow Cowdeo, guys. Follow his YouTube channel. He doesn't have that many subscribers, but I think his live streams actually get more views than mine. So, he's got some good content there. And then follow him on Twitter. I'm putting the links down in the description. I also have a link to his really awesome viral thread that he did about his time dating in Dallas. So check out that thread. It's really good. Links in the description for that. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I have for this episode. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. If you're watching on the replay, drop a comment. Any comment will do. If you guys are listening on your favorite audio platform of choice, give us a 5-star review. It helps more than you know. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description for all my socials. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/comeonmanpod. You can join for as little as $10. That supports the show as well. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I will send you some stickers for your troubles. And then if you like the design of these stickers, they're also available on coffee mugs, t-shirts, hoodies at merch.comeonmanpod.com. And then get your mind right at my practical law of attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. It's totally a mindset course. It's psychology based. There's no woo-woo spirituality or anything in it. Although there's 3 explanations for the law of attraction, right? There's a spiritual one, there's a quantum theory one, and then there's a psychological one. So I went with the psychological explanation for this. I think it's a lot easier for people to wrap their heads around. So getting a lot of great feedback on that course. So check that out at loa.comeonmanpod.com. All right, guys, that's all I have this week. Be sure to tune in Wednesday for the live stream at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I do it every Wednesday and Friday. I'm having a lot of fun doing the live streams. I love doing the live streams, man. I don't like getting up so early because I'd much rather sleep in. But it's fun, man. I drink coffee, drink some energy drinks. And we chop it up, and I have a lot of fun with you guys that like to join the live chat and sound off in there. We have a lot of fun. So tune in for those Wednesday and Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Other than that, we'll catch you guys next time.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. New full episodes served hot every Monday morning on your favorite podcast platform of choice. So subscribe now. Follow Paul on social media. The links are in the description. Now, go out and get it.